Welcome back to the Systems of Scale podcast. I'm Ian Gatsky. Today, I'm joined by Austin Schneider, co-founder of Agency U and one of my people I consider to be a mentor of mine. Austin scaled his own marketing agency to over $200,000 a month, and now he helps agency owners go from operator to orchestrator by building offers, systems, and teams that actually scale with his coaching program, Agency U. I met Austin for the first time at the end of 2024 when our marketing agency, Rockrose Productions, joined his coaching program, Agency U, and he helped us scale to the best year that we ever had in 2025 at that point. In this conversation, we break down what's really different about scaling a coaching program versus a done-for-you service business, Austin's step-by-step approach to crafting an irresistible offer, the emotional shift required to let go of the I need to do everything mindset and effectively delegate to your team, and where he's taking Agency U next, including how he's using AI and companion GPTs to close the client execution gap within his program. If you're new here, hit subscribe. It's free, and you can always change your mind. And now here is my conversation with Austin Schneider. Austin, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite, man. Really pumped to be on here.
Love it. Cool. So you have scaled both a marketing agency and now a coaching program. So when building a coaching program, I would assume that a lot of the same core principles apply, right? Like you have to identify that target audience, craft the offer, figure out client acquisition, fulfillment, all the core parts that you teach inside Agency U. From your experience, what have you found is actually different about scaling a coaching program versus a typical done-for-you service business?
Not as much as people think. I always feel like I am scaling. It's an agency, essentially. A lot of people glamorize it like, oh, you're going to, get all these clients. You're going to have like no overhead. It's going to be like 100% margin and da-da-da. It's going to be such a lifestyle business. And it's like, that's a way to do it if you want to be like a course seller and like just sell courses. But for like us specifically, like we're pretty hands-on and as you know, like really supportive and really in depth with our support. And we spend a lot of money on our support in order to get that. So to be honest, there's really not much different. The more we grow and scale, like it's kind of the same thing, essentially, in my opinion.
Cool. And I think everybody's experience will be a little different, but I think I can speak to I've been in a bunch of different coaching programs, but not only how hands-on you are is definitely very unique from the other. Like a lot of the coaching programs that I've bought, like, okay, we had some interface time with the founder or the face of the coaching program for maybe the first week where they would kind of do the onboarding call with us, kind of help build out our roadmap or whatever. But then we wouldn't see them for 6 months after that. It would just be, okay, you have the course content, but
watch the videos. Yeah.
But yeah, you're very hands-on. But
which is a way to do it. I mean, but I think for us, like our mission is to help a lot of people scale. And I believe that comes with a really exceptional product, which comes with more deliverables, more service. And like the agency, you think about fulfilling for a client, cool, you're doing a strategy call and yeah, you're doing stuff for them in some way, shape or form. But it's kind of the same thing. It's like you're still meeting with clients. You're still meeting with clients. You're still doing client success. You're still doing client success. You're still making sure that they're accountable to what they're doing. You're still making sure they're accountable to what they're doing. It's like the only difference is we don't actually like log into their accounts and do things for them necessarily for most clients. Even in the agency space, it's not like we did absolutely everything for people.
Going back to your decision to exit your agency and start Agency U, what motivated that decision for you? Like, why did you step away from running your agency? You had built it to a successful place. You're doing $200,000 a month plus. What made you step away and start building Agency U?
I would say there's two main things. One had a COO, Mark, who we kind of like knew maybe 2 years before, kind of the vision was for him to become CEO, but more so because his skill set as a CEO is like really good. His skill set with the team was really good. I'm more of like a builder, so I wasn't really well peppered to be CEO. And when you have a team, a lot of the CEO work that I learned is HR and team relationship stuff, as you know, and like just wasn't really my thing. I'm more of like a builder and like that sort of vibe. So that was the vision that was planted. And that's what we kind of decided 2 years even before Agency U. And then leading up to that, just kind of molded him into doing that by giving him more responsibility and like showing him things behind the curtain and like peppering him up for that. And then kind of just started Agency U on a whim to start on the first go, was basically hit with all these ads of like, oh, you're if you coach, blah, blah. Anyway, joined a coaching program. Dude was like, dude, you have a lot of proof, start Agency U. So I did it actually in tandem with Brantegic and did that. And like, we did okay, but it was just me. And then I was like, I can't do both of this. So I actually stopped doing Agency U, focused back on Brantegic. And then at the time also, a lot of people don't know this, is my wife and I really wanted to move to San Diego, or mostly she, and I just wanted to make it happen. So my goal is to fast track Mark to become CEO, get Agency U off the ground, and then a door will open to move to San Diego. So in short, one, Mark as CEO was the goal, just from a what's best for the company thing. And then two, we wanted to move and we have a studio, people in place. So it all made sense.
Yeah. And it enabled the flexibility that you needed to get to San Diego and set you up to be in a position where I think going back to the original question of what's different about scaling a coaching program versus a typical done for you service business is with Agency U, you were in a place where you could just focus on building assets, systems, processes, tools, resources that were valuable for your agency at Brantegic, but then you could just share that with other agencies where you didn't have to interface with the clients. Yeah.
It's the best part is like, just like, I feel like I'm building for so many people. And like, that's what really excites me about business. Being like an ops guy is like, I want to build things to like create something really big and stuff. And now I get to do it for, hundreds of people. It's really fun.
You just get to like license your resources, tools, assets, whatever it is that you build. And then you have
Dream
just
job,
to
man.
people. Yeah.
Dream job.
Awesome. Amazing. If you were to go back to day one, when you made the decision to go all in on Agency U and you started really taking it seriously, committing more time, what would you have done differently or wish that you had known then that you know now?
I mean, I feel like we learned quite a bit because it was like a second business from coming off of Brantegic. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is my first business ever and let me just go figure this out. So, and like, when I went all in on Agency U, we had people in place that like were existing clients that we could sell to essentially. I would say one of the biggest things that was amazing was forming a business partnership. So Gilberto Rosas is my business partner. A lot of people don't know that because I'm the face on all the freaking videos and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
he is responsible for the sales and marketing, and I'm responsible for content creation and ops. So we have a really good dynamic there. And I would say that's something that really, really accelerated our growth because we were able to separate tasks and have a good working relationship on that sort of stuff. As far as what I would have done differently, oh man, we went through so many different renditions where like product and positioning, I would say, is like really focusing on that. And because like you see every ad, oh, we'll come into your agency and help you scale, but like what is the actual differentiator? And I think like early on we were trying to be more sales driven and like we created the product and there was a lot of like minutia almost that just wasn't really relevant. And then it was more about dialing in the positioning of, becoming a CEO because, it's not all about front end sales. It's not all about front end sales, like what a lot of people promote and sell. It's about, the ads, or it's about the operations. It's about the team. It's about the systems so that you can actually maintain the front end stuff. So really focusing on that was helpful. And we went through a lot of like renditions for sure on that.
Yeah. You only figure that out once you really understand your customer, and you only understand your customer once you've, worked with a ton of them. And that's just going to take time by nature. You're not going to get it right with what you're offering, how you're positioning yourself right out the gates. It just comes from talking to more of your customers. I think if you talk to anybody who's been in Agency U, they would agree. I think 75% of the people would talk about how amazing the like refinement process that you go through of what it is that you actually offer and building a systematized, scalable offer. And that was like the biggest win for us when we joined Agency. Like when we joined our agency, we were doing about $40,000 a month. This is the end of 2024. And we were all over the place as far as what it was that we were offering, end of 2023. But anyways, I think that you have a very unique skill set, and I think how you have it structured and laid out in Agency U is amazing. So I would love to take a few minutes here to kind of go through your process of how you approach building or refining an offer. So if you could walk us through that process that you take people through, like for building an irresistible offer.
I think a lot of people start businesses is because they have a skill set, right? Oh, I'm good at sales. I'm good at mindset training. I'm good at fitness, whatever it could be. And the problem that a lot of people come across is they just sell their skill sets. They're like, oh yeah, I'll help you with sales. Oh, I'll help you get in shape, or I'll help you with this. Let me come up with some like packages and I'll just repackage this what I do and to what it is that you would benefit from based off of my experience, because I have these skill sets. And if you need anything else, I'm here to help you out. And then what happens is, they start saying yes. Oh, could we do like an extra session? Could we jump on extra calls? Could you also do this? Oh, this person actually said they only wanted this many calls, and this person is getting this many calls plus this many blah, 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 blahs. And then it's convoluted and completely unscalable, right? So what we like to just identify is, okay, cool. If you have the skill sets, what we just need to identify is who is it that we want to work with. So is it agency owners? Is it professionals wanting to get in shape? Whatever it could be. What are they struggling with? Like, what are their pain points? Struggling losing weight, struggling getting sales, whatever the pain point that your skill set can solve. And then what are the desired outcomes that these people actually want? Is it they want to lose 5 pounds? They want to lose 10 pounds? They want to, add 20% to their top line revenue, et cetera, et cetera. And then all we really need to do as business owners, and what we should be focusing on, and this is why we're so passionate about product, is literally just figure out how to get our clients from where they are to where they want to go, and really map out and productize how you get the clients from where they are to where they want to go. And then what that allows you to do is create a standard process from, okay, cool, the moment a client signs on, if they just follow this process, then they're going to get to these outcomes. And that is what you put people through all the time, every single time. And not only does that create clarity for the client, because now you're not selling, oh, we're going to do, 4 calls over the course of 6 months and, I'm going to send you modules. It's like, no, we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. Like for us, it's okay, we're going to go your offer, then we're going to do momentum campaign, then we're going to do sales / storytelling bundle, and then we're going to build your systems, and you're going to need people to hire. So it takes them through that process. So it's easy for the client to see the roadmap to get to the outcome, but it's also easy on the back end to scale it, because you just need to plug people in to teach people that process and work that process that gets the clients what they want, which is the outcome. They cover that well.
Amazing. And I'll just do a little shout out if anybody needs help kind of figuring out who. So obviously like, you're going to have your skill set, but figuring out who it's for is kind of that critical first step. Would you agree? Because like once you have an idea of who it is that you want to serve, then you can do the analysis of, okay, this is what they're struggling with. This is the desired outcome that they want. And that's kind of like the foundation. So if anybody wants help figuring out who their product could be for, I'll leave a link in the description to a GPT that I built that'll just help kind of work you through that process of identifying and then building out that ideal customer profile. Sweet. So then you've probably looked at hundreds, if not thousands of different offers and taken people through that process. In your mind, is there any one thing or a specific element of an offer that makes it scalable? And is that something that people should even worry about from day one? Like, should you worry about your offer being scalable in the beginning?
From the beginning, somewhat, at least having like a process. Like the idea is you have a skill set and you want to identify what are the steps to get to the outcome. Does that mean you're going to delegate and hire a team day one? Absolutely not. The most important part is getting your clients the outcome. And usually when you start getting clients, that's when you can refine the steps desired outcome. And I mean, Agency U, we're about to go on Agency U 5.0 because everything is adjusting and changing. Our OS has changed so many times because, things just change over time. But the process is somewhat the same. It's just the tactics and the hows are a little bit different. So we need to keep the main focus is not necessarily like, is this super productized, but is this going to increase the likelihood of the client getting the results? Like if you can do that and you provide a really good experience and then you can actually get clients results, then like that's all you should care about. And maybe it's super simple and maybe it's like, it feels like you're cheating, or maybe it's a little bit more technical and it's going to require a little bit more investment from you to fulfill. Okay, make your offer more expensive, but that should be the core focus. And then you can figure the rest out for the most part later. It's just productizing it and then focusing on the results.
But in the beginning, this should be the North Star. Your entire lifetime in business is just doing whatever it takes to get your clients the outcome. Maybe not your entire lifetime because you don't want to do like the scope creep of everything. But in the beginning, you just have to do whatever it takes to get people results. And then you can kind of look back and reflect on, okay, what elements of what I did for them actually worked and actually got them closer to that outcome. And then you can start to trim things off or add things in. It'll be
hit you authority in the conversations too, because it's like the client usually comes on. What happens is clients like, oh yeah, I just need like 4 calls a month and like I need you to do this and I need you to do this. And then the client's like, oh, they're going to write me a check. I'm going to say yes to it. And then, but if you can just lead with, hey, you're telling me you want the outcome, you do sales, okay, then you have the process, you have the IP on how they can actually get to the outcomes. And that's where you sell. It just becomes mad easy.
Yeah. And it's an ever evolving thing, right? Like you're never going to be done with your offer, or you're always going to be, you should always be improving it, enhancing
Yeah.
it,
1,000%.
making it more efficient, making it more likely they get to the outcome, et cetera. Like you just said, you're on Agency U 5.0 right now. But
Yeah.
cool. As a part of going through that transition, you have a phrase which I think is very well named, which is going from operator to orchestrator. And that's a big thing that you help people navigate within Agency U, right? Like, and you work with agencies who are at zero, just getting started, all the way up to, doing $1 million months. So you kind of help people throughout that whole lifetime, that whole journey of being an agency owner. And a big part of that is helping them go from operator to orchestrator. And emotionally, that can be a pretty hard shift. Like I know in my agency, when we were working with you, it was tough for us to kind of delegate some of that. I just kind of trust the employees, or the people on our team, right? You're giving up control. Maybe your whole identity is being really good at this one thing. And often, you're better at it than they are. But what does that transition of going from operator to orchestrator actually mean? And then what's the hardest part of letting go of that operator role?
Yeah. Again, like going back to most people start businesses because they have a skill set. And with that comes pride and becomes control, and I can do it the best way, et cetera, et cetera. And it can be really, really challenging to even fathom somebody doing what you're doing, right? And it can be really, really challenging to do. So, like, the transition for me was going from basically being a doer, having a job, to actually being a leader and actually applying some of these leadership principles that I've been learning about, like extreme ownership, like stuff from John Maxwell, and influencing the team. So for me, the transition is going from, and really it's also like a mindset thing too, of like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to get what's in my brain and download it into somebody else. And that becomes like your most important job, because when you have a team, I always say the most important person that's paying you isn't the person that's paying your invoices, it's the person that you're paying's invoices, which is your team. Your job becomes setting up your team for success and investing in them. And that means building systems for them, creating tools for them, training them, spending time with them. Because if you're the bottleneck, it's just going to be so hard to scale. So first is like realizing, okay, if I really want to work myself out of the business, I need to get what's in my brain into a system and visualize myself doing that and learn the skills necessary to how to do that effectively so you can build people up to be better than you. And then next is just like applying it and creating the systems and teaching people how to do it, which is completely different skill set than being good at sales or mindset or whatever it could be, like whatever
Yeah.
your skill set is. It's completely different.
And it's also just trusting the other people to
Yeah.
do a great job, right? And there's a lot that goes into that. One is just kind of getting over the mental block that nobody can do this better than you can, which is not true. Like you should want everybody on the team to be better at doing their job better than you could ever do it. And that takes work from your part, right? The extreme ownership mindset of if they fail at doing something that I assigned to them to do, it's my fault because I should have equipped them with the
Which is the hardest part of doubt. It's getting over yourself. Ego is the enemy. It's having humility. It's having patience. It's like being okay with something not going that well. Like that's the hardest part of delegating, is getting over yourself and your ego.
And on the flip side of that, like if a business owner is unable to make that transition from operator to orchestrator, what will that create, or what will that lead to if you never do make that shift?
There's 168 hours in a week. If you took on 168 hours of work by yourself, you'd be working 24/7. But if you scaled, delegated, all that stuff, and you took on 168 hours of work and you had a team that was handling it, cool. You have free time. But some people want that. Some people just want to be the operator, which is totally fine. But
Yeah,
just not my MO. Trying to have a life.
for sure. Extreme ownership was one of those things that I learned from you that has completely changed my life. Maybe I had read the book before I joined the program, but seeing how you taught it and put it into practice and how you spoke about how you put it into practice within your agency and how you made it a core value and how you lived by it, and was really transformational for me. But then another thing that you've said that you've taught that stuck with me, and I bring it up on the group calls with an agency all the time, is that all frustrations stem from unmet expectations. So I would love for you to explain, how does that saying or that phrase come into practice with how you approach onboarding new clients?
I mean, onboarding by far is the most important part of the client relationship. The moment a client says yes is the moment they think to themselves, should I have paid that invoice? Is this actually going to work out for me? So if we can have we also teach like a really streamlined onboarding process, fast onboarding process. But part of that onboarding process is setting expectations, because what a lot of people do, and this is all from like me learning this the hard way. So what I used to do is I'd onboard a client, I'd manually send them the contract, and they'd want to start the same week. And I'd be like, cool, let's schedule our first shoot on Wednesday. I would know nothing about them. I would have no context. There'd be no expectation set. I would just show up and start doing the work. And then they had an expectation in their head, and I had an expectation in my head what we would deliver that was maybe communicated on the sales call just to try to get them to close the deal. And then when something goes wrong, who's right? Like, whose expectation is right? Well, none, because none of them were set. So
Yeah.
on the onboarding, like what we'll do is we'll go through onboarding presentation. Like basically the onboarding policy is just expectation setting, like literally, because any frustration is an unmet expectation. So if your client is ever frustrated at you, we don't point at the client and be like, actually, we have to point at ourselves and say, where did I set the expectation that we weren't going to do XYZ for you? And it's our responsibility, going back to extreme ownership, to set expectations and make them really clear so that those can be met. And it also makes it really easy for you guys to fulfill and to get clients results, because if the expectations are X and you achieve X, cool, and that's communicated, perfect. You can actually set them up for a win, rather than your expectation of a win is this, their expectation of a win is this, and then it just kind of goes like uncommunicated and undocumented.
It needs to be clearly clarified from the jump what a win looks like, what the process of getting them there is going to look like, what their responsibilities are in route to getting that outcomes are going to be. So that completely reframed the way that I approached onboarding. Like, again, I thought onboarding was just supposed to be a box that was checked. It's like the contract signed, things are scheduled, whatever. But our onboarding calls now are like an hour, hour and a half long. The half of it at least is just strictly dedicated to setting as clear of expectations as possible in every element of this relationship, this working relationship that we're going to have. And then, the rest of the time is just spent on gathering the information that we might need from the client in order to deliver the service. But yeah, onboarding is absolutely essential. It's laying that foundation. You've kind of shared with me some exciting plans that you have with Agency U and within the program, but what is your vision for this next phase of Agency U?
Product. So like the big push on the product end of things is, we just vibe coded a portal for members. So right now we have a portal inside of Notion, which is cool, but there's always limitations with every tool. And it's like, oh, we could do Kajabi, we could do blah, 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 but just made more sense to build it ourselves. So that's part of the 5.0 rollout, which is new product, new task system, new modules. Not all the modules are new, but a lot of new updates coming out. So really, really excited about that. On the sales end, like we're continuing to hum, like our business being at the level we are, it's a very sales and marketing driven business. So the mission is always to lower cost of acquisition, like better ROAS, so doing that. And then ultimately building up the team, like HR is a huge focus. Again, there's, 18 to 20 people on our team right now. So making sure that they're taken care of. This is a really good place to work. And then also building people up inside of Agency U so that things can get off of my plate, things can get off of Gilberto's plate, so that we can focus on what actually matters, which is growth. So some key hires, some senior roles is what we plan to do. And with that will come more revenue, better results, more scale, and then build a personal brand, all that good stuff,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So even with an info product business, right, there's still the people involved, right? The team that you're building is still an absolutely critical element of that kind of business, which is,
it's not
contrary to what I think most people think.
Putting people into a course and being like, oh, they just collected $10,000 for 100% margin. Like, no, it's just as expensive as owning an agency, if not more.
Right. My personal experience with info products looked something like this, right? Like I've always been a voracious reader. I buy all the books, I read all the books, I highlight, I take notes, I fold the page corners, whatever. I buy the coaching program, I get into it, I show up to every group call, I watch all the videos, take more notes. But what I always struggled with was actually doing the work that was assigned to me in those info products. And that's where all the real value is found, right? You don't get any value from an info product unless you do the work that's assigned to you in that info product, right? The this person learned this thing. Now they're teaching you how to do it the same way. You have to actually go through and execute and do the work. That gap between learning and doing with info products is just what I've labeled as the client execution gap. So is this something that you have found with Agency U, like that you kind of had to figure out how to solve for, and then how did you solve for it in Agency U? But of closing that gap of like actually getting people to do the work that you want them to do. Like how did you solve that within Agency U?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the common denominator of everybody who's crushed in Agency U, and I'm sure in any info product space, is the clients executing. And sometimes it can feel like frustrating if the client doesn't execute, and it can feel frustrating if somebody has a poor experience due to what you perceive as lack of execution. But at the end of the day, like going back to extreme ownership, are we doing everything that we can do to set them up for success so that execution is the best, and easiest possible for the client? So like what we do from a human perspective is we have one-on-one calls with our clients, like actually talk to them. We have a Slack channel and the KPI is to check in with them every single week. We have a monthly accountability form that they fill out so we can get feedback from them. We have a weekly CEO's scorecard that they fill out every single week. We have group calls every single day. So we're trying to make it as hard as possible from a human element, from a community element, from accountability element for them to fail. On the product side, we don't just have a bunch of modules. We actually created tasks that the coaches can assign to members. So there's the modules that supplement the actual tasks. So if I'm on a call with you, Ian, and you're like, oh yeah, I need to work on my offer. Cool. I'm just going to assign you the offer breakdown task. Boom. It'll tell you exactly what to do, make it really easy for you to execute, et cetera, et cetera. And then on the tech side, like the AI side, same thing. Offer agent. Cool. Can you tell me if this offer is good? Cool. Pop it into the offer agent, and then it'll audit your offer based off of the principles, based off of the content that we have on trainings about offer. And then it analyzes it based off of our principles. Onboarding. Onboarding is so hard and so confusing. Cool. Use our onboarding agent, and it'll literally walk you through step by step, one by one on how to do it. And I learned a lot of this from you, by the way. So shout out to Ian. I wouldn't have learned all of this without Ian, FYI. And then we have objection role play. So if you suck at sales or you're not familiar with sales, cool, pop in client objections and you can literally chat with it and have objections. DM conversation analyzer. So if you're having a DM conversation with somebody, then you can basically put the messages inside of the AI agent and it'll tell you what to say or give you 3 options on what to say. We have I think there's 22 of them right now, but we're constantly building, and it's just taking what we have from a product perspective and then turning it into an AI agent and then letting them talk to it from that. But the number one thing for sure in info space is accountability and getting them to take action. And we need to ask ourselves, are we doing everything possible to set them up for success? So, and I think in 2026, 2027 and beyond, like AI agents need to be paramount to setting people up for success because it is a second brain. It removes you as a bottleneck, gives them access to something. I also think like the human stuff, like the check-ins, like that's really big feedback that we do get, which is labor, which is cost, which is time, but it is a net positive. So that's how we're solving.
And there's no replacing that. Like I think you have a very robust system that you've put in place on that human element or the human side of the accountability part of the offer, which I think is incredible. There's no way around that. I think the AI agents just do a good job of kind of removing some of the friction in getting the people to do the work, and just is an added resource, an added benefit that people get from being in the community. Have you gotten some good feedback from those agents? Have people said anything about them? Are people using them?
Yeah, people are using them. I wouldn't say they're like the star of the show. And like, I usually hear about them when they go down for a second.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, is this back up? I need to write copy for my client, blah, blah, blah. That tells me why people use it, but I never really look at the analytics too much.
Yeah. I love it. I am grateful to be a part of that community. I'm still in there hosting group calls every once in a while. And every chance that I get, everybody in there is just amazing. And, I owe a lot to being in Agency U and being in the community. Changed my life in a lot of ways. So any way that I can give back, always happy to do so. But if I was to interview again in 5 years from now, what would you hope that we'd be celebrating?
A massive exit of a business.
Cool. I love it. You're going to make it happen. If you had a giant billboard that everyone in the world could see for 10 seconds, what would it say and why?
I would just say, get after it. That's what came to my mind. For the last 6 hours, I've been filming module videos and just getting after it. And that's just what people need to do. They see the shiny things, and then the get after it part is the real part.
Just get after it. There's a great quote from Sam Walton, founder of Walmart and Sam's Club, when he was asked like how Walmart was such a big success, and he just said, "My friend, we just got after it and stayed after."
No way.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
That's
so
literally what it is.
yeah,
Getting after it.
100%.
Yeah. Time and saddle.
Yep,
Doing the thing over and over and over again.
100%. And that's like the biggest thing that I've struggled with in this second endeavor, being doing it by myself as opposed to doing it with a business partner, is
Yeah.
on the days where I just don't want to show up. It's a lot harder to get my ass in the chair and show up
Yeah.
when I'm just by myself. When it was Matt and I, like Matt would show up, it's like, okay, Matt's doing it. That would kind of get me through the initial friction of just getting started. And now when it's just by myself, it's like, man, like I gotta really
Yeah.
kick myself in the ass. So I
Sure.
got all these like little reminders written all over the place of like
Nice.
slaps in the face when I need it. But that is the key.
Literally all it is.
Time
It's
is
just
key.
doing the right
100%.
things and doing it as fast as you can.
Austin, thanks so much for the time today, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you for listening to my conversation with Austin Schneider. Here are my 3 biggest takeaways from the conversation. Number 1, coaching programs aren't easier to build than agencies or done-for-you service businesses. Austin made it clear that if you actually care about client results and providing real support to the people that come into your program, the fundamentals look a lot like an agency or any other done-for-you service business. You're still responsible for successful delivery, holding people accountable, making sure that your clients get success, and operations of the team that you're building. Number 2, the offer is not a package or a list of deliverables, it's a roadmap to an outcome. The best offers are built by mapping out the transformation. Who do you serve? Where do they start out? What are they struggling with? What is the end outcome that you want them to achieve or that you're going to help them achieve? And then what are the steps that you guide them through along the way that your offer takes them through? Like, how do you close that gap of where they are now to where they want to be? And what are the steps to that delivery and steps of that journey? Number 3, the operator to orchestrator transition or shift is an ego and a systems game. The cost of not delegating is that you end up owning a job and creating a job for yourself instead of owning a business. The shift requires humility, patience, and the ability to get what's in your head onto paper, into systems, and into people. If you want to connect with Austin or learn more about his program, Agency U, I'll leave the links to everything for him in the description. Additionally, I'll include the link to the customer profile GPT I mentioned during our conversation that'll help you map out the comprehensive outline of who your ideal customer is and map out who your offer really is for and help you put together your offer. If you got value from this episode, share it with a friend who's building an offer or trying to scale without becoming the bottleneck. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.